What's going on, guys? I know it's been a while, probably a couple months since I've posted up. A lot of people have been asking what happened. Just haven't really had time for it. There's been a lot of other stuff going on, but I finally decided to get you an updated video. Most of you guys remember the main issue with this car. This is a 2015 twin turbo car. The transmission and the turbo 400. Most of you remember the issues I went through with that one. Issue after issue after issue. Well, most of you, I think I may have talked about in one of the last videos, I wanted to go with the Glide. I did decide to give the Turbo 400 one more chance. I ended up talking to a new shop, which I've talked to even before when I was still getting it built, Fritz Performance Transmissions out of Marion, Illinois. And he's built a lot of Turbo 400s, at least in the area. I see a lot of people running his transmissions having great luck. So I decided to give him a shot, and I took the transmission to him. He took it apart right there in front of me. There were some pretty major build issues going on, so I dropped it off with him. He completely rebuilt it, put new parts and everything, and I've got over 1,000 miles on the transmission. I've beat the crap out of it, raced it over and over. Bowling Green streetcar takeover, I raced there, checked the oil again, and guess what? It looks like brand new. So huge shout out to him. I cannot thank him enough for finally fixing the transmission. It works, it's completely different. It revs out now like it's supposed to. Before, the clutches were completely burning up. I know there was some oil grooves, stuff that didn't quite match up with some parts. He knows a lot more about it than I do. But he did fix it for me. Works perfect, doesn't overheat, and it pulls all the way through like I said. And I remember the first time I took it out for a couple races. It's been a few days. I went and looked at it. I was like, guess I know what I'm about to see. Metal shavings in the pan. Nope, it was brand new. The oil was still gold. Looked like new. So cannot thank him enough for that. And most of you see, I've got the top mount, twin turbo kit, and I do have the hood exits, and I'm going to show you that. You can see my hood exits. These are most times you would have a ring around it, and the pipe would come up in the center where it doesn't touch. I want it to be different, so I went with this, and it does blow a lot of fire out and kind of melted the paint. But not really that worried about it. I like the way it looks, so not planning on changing that anytime soon. Under the hood, still mostly the same. Got the kit right there. You see we got the short little exhaust tubes, up pipes I guess you would call them in this case. It's got a wideband on each side. A lot of people were saying that it's not going to be long enough to get a reading. It actually gets a pretty good reading. Everything looks great. The only time I see a little glitch on the reading is on decel. If I'm driving fast and going decel, there's a lot of air causing turbulence going over here, and it kind of swirls in there just a tiny bit. You don't even hardly notice it, but that is all it took. The dump tubes, I ran right over back into it right there, and I left a additional port there for my boost controller, which I do not have the wideband hooked up to it right now. Up there, you see it's just cut off right there. And one of the other major things, or the main things I did to it, I did end up making a brand new splitter for it. I kind of caught my other one and tore it off. This is it's got dual aluminum on each side and a poly center. I ended up designing it, and this time I ran it all the way back under the car. It runs all the way back to the engine back there, below the cradle, basically forcing the air to go through the intercooler, kind of like a tunnel. Goes through, and then another thing I did notice on it, intake air temps. I had a problem with after some of the pulls, I'd see 150, 160 on the intake air temps. Now, I do plan on going with a bigger intercooler, but for now, I decided to try something a little different, and I've actually had a lot of interest in this, just people that came by the shop and seen it. So you see what I did to the front bumper. It's got the holes up there. I ended up designing this right here, cutting these holes here to allow airflow to get to the intercooler. You see how big of a section of that intercooler is actually blocked. You see about half the intercooler is actually blocked by that bar right there. So I cut the center ones right there, made them a little wider than the outside. I really just did the outside just for looks, because it didn't look right with just two in the center. And the issue I ran into when I first did it is your factory crash bar. Now if you look here, there's a crash bar, and that sits right behind the bumper. So this thing would be like that, blocking all the airflow. What I did is ended up making a new tubular crash bar, and I'll show you some pictures of that here as well as pictures of the splitter. So you can see how I did it. You can see the tubular bar. It runs right along the bottom of the bumper there and right along the top side up there, with the wiring harness attaching right to the back of it. Gives it a clean look, and it obviously allows air to go right through the center. You see it on each hole right there, runs right along the edges, goes over and mounts to the factory location. Most of the aftermarket crash bars I've seen had a center bar that ran right along here and didn't help any, so I designed this new one with a top and a bottom just for this right here, for additional airflow. I'm curious to see, once I take it down the track, see how much it helps. It's definitely got to help, because that's a pretty good portion of that intercooler being used now that was not being used. I've had a lot of people asking me, at least like I said, people that came by the shop, if I'll sell this crash bar. I kind of decided to make this video and gauge interest on it. I'm probably going to be making a template for the way that I designed this right here. We can just lay it up there, draw it out and make it. And I'll probably be making that crash bar if there's enough interest on it. So make sure and comment if you're interested in it, if it's something you might want to see. If you hate it, well, let me know that too. But for now, let's go ahead and start this thing up and take it for a drive. Now that I do have the hood exits, I was always curious how, if I was going to be smelling exhaust air or exhaust fumes coming into the windows, what's going to happen. I did notice if I roll my window all the way down, the exhaust stream comes right along here and comes in, but if I keep my window rolled up just a hair like that, it does not come in. And another thing I'm having a little issue with is the On3 61mm turbos. See, it put out just a little bit of blue smoke right there. The oil seals are going down on it. I'm probably going to upgrade to the 67mm Gen 2 turbo. It's got the billet wheel. Now these here, obviously they've got the turbo blanket, and I'd make back-to-back passes, shut it down right afterwards, which is not a good idea. Leaving that oil in there without letting them cool down. So, if you see a little bit of blue smoke, you know where it's coming from. It is coming from the turbos, and they're on back order right now from On3. Not sure how soon I can get them. If you know anybody with a set, have them get a hold of me and I will buy them off of them. So, for now, let's take it for a run. Actually, at night, this thing will put out a pretty big flame at night. I was out there in Mexico at Streetcar Takeover, and it was putting out some pretty big flames. I'll attach a video here where you can see one of them. Daytime, you can't really see the flame at all, but it does still sound good. Transmission is just smooth as could be. Like I said, I'm more excited about that transmission working now than anything. do, the car is not as loud as you might think it is. It's light cruising, barely on the throttle. It is not very loud at all. When you get on it, you hear it a little more. But most of the main thing I notice is before with the top mount kit, I would hear the turbos a lot, but now the exhaust kind of drones it out. Can't really shift with the hand I'm videoing with, so most of the time I do 40, 50, 60 rolls. We're just gonna kind of do a second gear pull so you can see what it does. We'll try about a 60 roll. It's a lot of spinning. What you actually see on the hood there, if you look from here, it looks like there's a dent in the hood there. The aluminum got hot. You can't really see it from the front. It got hot and actually expanded, causing it to dip down just from the heat from there. Can't really see the flame there like you can at night, but it does put out a pretty nice flame right there. That is going to be all for today. And some of you might be asking about the 18. The 18 is still NA. You know, the whip was taken off, was sold, it's put on another car. So for now, I just kind of been daily driving this car. It works good, you can cruise the town with it. Surprisingly, have not had any tickets with it with the hood exits. Probably the best thing I did, I like the hood exits. Sounds good, for sure at night where you see the fire. But the 18 is still going to be getting a big single on it. Just waiting to make that happen. There's been some other things going on right now. So just have to wait for that one. Still coming around. But let me know in the comments what you think. If it's something you guys might be interested in. If not, you know, you don't have to like it. I think it's pretty functional. And it's not something I've seen done before. I know a couple people told me, they're like, well, if you post it, everyone's going to copy it. I don't really care. But I do plan on making the crash bar, and I can make a template for that front end if someone's interested. The splitter, I can build splitters too, but it'd be kind of hard to ship one of those. You can see in the picture below before or how I did it, and I'll still post a picture of it here again where you can see how it covers the whole bottom like that. The whole factory plastic underskew got replaced by this piece right here. So for now, it's gonna be all for today. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see you next time.